Right, so we'll move on to Mr. Conticor next on item number 8, Treasury Management 2024-2025, Quarter 1 review.
This is one of my favourite subjects. I've been coming to cabinet meetings and talking on the Treasury Management for 19 years. Back in 2008, I told this council not to put £3 million in its Icelandic bank accounts at high interest. Which it did. It lost the money for a while and it got it back eventually without the interest. This is stuff I know, and I'm not worried about the money we're borrowing for housing. Quite often people say we've got all this debt, and if you look on the page, whatever it is, table 6.3, our housing debt will go from 61 million to almost 64 million. That isn't a problem because we're building more council housing at Byford Court, etc. And effectively, if you look at this as a mortgage, the housing element of our debt, Treasury Management, is effectively about £12,000 per property we own. So effectively, when we charge our residents rent, some of it is paying for the debt used to actually build and maintain that housing. And a debt level of, say, £12,000 or £13,000 per house or flat is not a problem. And inflation will mean at some point in the future, the debt might be hundreds of millions, but the properties will be worth £1 billion if you just roll things forward to inflation. What I am worried about is the top line of that table, which is the general fund debt. That was 6.75 million, and it's going up to 33.48 million. Because we're building that hotel, we're building the leisure centre, etc. And that debt has not yet been borrowed. And the big problem we've got is not the inflation making things twice as expensive. It's the doubling of interest rates, making the interest rate tail of that cost absolutely ginormous. And this is why Treasury Management is really important. We need to borrow at the right time, so that for that hotel, when we started signing contracts, we should have been arranging to take on a little bit of debt so that we knew what price we'd be paying that contract for in terms of stuff. And what we don't know, because this is only effectively the size of our mortgage, is what the hotel is worth. Because if our debt goes up 20 million and we built a hotel that we can sell for 20 million, we do not have a problem. If we build a hotel for 28 million and it's worth 16 million, we have a massive problem. And so I hope we look at the big picture and actually look at both sides of the ledger effectively when we're doing this stuff and seeing how much value we've got, what our asset base has increased in exchange for this debt. And I did suggest we actually sold shares in the hotel, or maybe sell the whole hotel off at an appropriate point once it's trading properly, so that we could get our debt down. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Conticor. And then item number 8, we've also got Councillor Michelle Conticor as well.
Just really a couple of questions. There's, as usual, loads of acronyms used. From previously, I know what PWLB is. What on earth is market LOBO? I have no idea. I've not seen that term come up before. And it talked about the breaching of the debt maturity limits. But is there a consequence to doing that? Or are they just recommendations and expectations that you don't borrow more than this relative to your income and what have you and things? Because that's not very clear. And there's a lot of bad grammar and unfinished sentences, and if I'm being really pedantic, grammar things. Like something rates rose, it should be rates, it's rates have rose or rates have risen and things. So it's just me picking up these things that people haven't actually read through the thing before it's printed. So I often comment on these things, but it just shows that people don't actually read what they've written. Thank you.